It's no secret that the Tuning Fork brand and the Green Team are eating up Street Fighter market share. Now American Honda wants a slice of this pie with the CB650F, imported from the bustling streets of Europe. Paired alongside the returning, full-fairing and road-based CBR650F sport bike, Honda now has two affable flavors for around-town sport fun.
Okay, is everyone with me? We're riding the 2018 Honda CBR650F. Now, we're riding the Honda CB650F, which is that bike right there, before lunch, and now we're riding the full-fairing version. Pleasantly surprised with that bike. I really like the looks of it. You know, back in the old days, back in the 70s, before I was born, Honda's CB400 bike and bikes like that were real popular, you know. Sport performance paired with an upright, round-town level of comfort with those symmetrical pipes. Remember those symmetrical pipes from the 70s? Well, both the CB650F and CBR650F have those awesome symmetrical pipes that showcase the architecture of this Japanese-made inline-4 engine. Maybe I shouldn't say Japanese. These bikes are actually assembled in Thailand, but I'm pretty sure the engines are still assembled in Japan. And this bike's cool. If you're looking for a comfy, sporty motorcycle, something that has a more upright riding position, more supple suspension, and just generally a little bit friendlier for day-to-day riding, these bikes are going to slot in really nicely. The cool thing I like about this Honda Inline 4 is, you know, they have had so much experience making these Inline 4 platforms over the decades upon decades upon decades, and yeah, a lot of other companies make them, all the big Japanese companies make Inline 4s, but this Honda engine, like, even though this bike's more orientated to maybe someone who's not looking to buy a super expensive CBR 1000 or a super expensive CBR 600RR, these inline 4s deliver a lot of performance, a lot of character. They feel every bit as lively as the big high performance engine, but just a little bit more neutered. You know, still do wheelies. You can still get some, like look at Rennie, he's doing a nice stand-up right there. These are fun bikes, I really like it. The engine is a little bit fuzzy though, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. Right away, just this full fairing bike, it's nice having a little bit of wind protection. This windscreen could be a little bit taller. It doesn't do that good of a job of pushing air off your chest and head, but it is more effective than that CB650F right there. I really like the one-piece cast Nissan calipers. They're not radial mount, they're axle mount, so they go in through the sides, but they work real good. Still wish Honda would have splurged a little bit, spent the extra money and put on radial mount calipers. You know, once you try a good set of radial mount front disc brakes, you're gonna be sold. They just have so much rigidity and so much power when you're yanking on this brake lever. It's really nice. But these ones work just fine. Wait till this passing zone opens and we'll pass this guy. A lot of passing power. Yeah, I downshifted to third gear right there, but this engine has a lot of mid-range. You know, the bottom end comes on real early. It's got a lot of mid-range juice, which helps you accelerate, get going from a stop. You know, at 452 pounds, this bike is real light. Goes where you want. The CB650F, the naked bike, is a scant more maneuverable than this full fairing bike. I don't know if it's because it's got the upright style rubber mounted handlebar or the lack of fairings or bodywork, or because it's just a couple pounds lighter, but it is a little bit more agile than this full fairing bike. Not to say that this bike's heavy or sluggish at all. The Showa dual bending valve front suspension Harley-Davidson's got the same kind of technology in their new 2018 Softail lineup. Basically, the synopsis of this SDVV is it allows the fork to move more fluidly, whether you're in the compression stroke on the brakes or on the rebound stroke when you're off the brakes and you encounter a bump and the spring's coming up. It just gives it a little bit better flow, more positive reaction on road bumps. And the actual suspension quality, like we're riding on a little bit of a bumpy street right now, and the ride quality is actually pretty good. It's nowhere near as sporty as a CBR650R or a CBR1000RR, but for general street riding, I like that. I like the squishiness of the suspension. Yet, we were riding earlier on some pretty nice canyon type roads, you know, left, right, left, switchback, third, fourth gear, and the bike rode over really well. It gave me that just enough sporting sensation to know that I'm on a Honda sport motorcycle, but not so much to be like, oh god, I couldn't ride this thing all day. You know, we have a pretty long ride plan. We're going to be logging about 160 miles today. You know, a lot of people are going to laugh and be like, I do 160 miles in my sleep. But realistically, if you're doing 160 miles during the week, it's a long ride. And I'm happy we're on a fairly comfortable sport motorcycle to log those miles. Some more street comforts come, you know, with a fuel meter, so you can keep tabs on the capacity of the 4.6 gallon fuel tank. Riding positions, no strange contortions to ride this bike. You know, I'm always griping about sport bikes being uncomfortable, especially with my long legs and my long arms. This bike's fairly comfortable. The seat's pretty well padded too. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by how well the seat works. Mirrors do a good job of showing me what's behind me. Have good tension on the adjustment. A little bit vibey, but not so bad. LED headlight on this thing it's going to be great at night. We haven't ridden at night, but I love LED headlights. They're a game changer. If you do any degree of night riding, you're going to want a motorcycle with an LED headlight, because it's just going to make riding that much safer, that much easier, that much more fun. One gripe I do have on this bike's the instrumentation. Instrumentation is a little bit dated. I remember seeing this gauge panel on the previous CBR650F that we rode back in 2012, 13, 11, I don't really remember. And I wish this display was a little bit more modern looking. But we do have some creature comforts. We got dual trip meters, got a MPG, instant MPG gauge. It says we're getting 46.2 MPGs. We have an average over the course of this ride. We've averaged 41.4 MPGs. The bike I'm riding has ABS, so if you don't have a lot of experience riding motorcycles and get a little bit intimidated by full manual brakes, this ABS will help. Look, you can lock up the brakes and you don't have to worry about the wheel skidding or losing anything. It's total control the Honda way. Look at that power. Just enough to get you going, but not too much where you're going to scare yourself. Engine does get a little vibey at high RPM, but low end, mid-range, it's not so bad. This bike costs $8,700, right around that. I think it's $8,750 to be exact. And then the naked bike's about $400 less expensive at $8,350, I believe. And it really comes down to what kind of riding you're going to do. If you're going to be doing a lot of freeway rides, just be riding it on the highway, riding on the freeway, and you want that air blockage of the forward fairing and the windscreen, then the full fairing bike's going to be for you. But if you're just looking for something you're going to ride around town, you're not going to be spending a whole lot of miles on the freeway, or you just plain prefer the look of a naked bike, like I do, save $400 and get the CB650F. It's the bike I would buy. Shock on this motorcycle has a little bit of adjustment. It's spring preload adjustment. Forks fixed, but I wouldn't say it's bad. It's one less thing you have to mess with. It's nice that this bike has a real passenger seat. You know, sport bikes always, you know, they have itty bitty, most of them have itty bitty little back seats, so you can't really take a friend, or if you do bring a friend, they're not going to like you after going for a ride with you. But on this bike, you know, your friend's going to want to come with. It's got a nice big seat, and that makes riding that much easier. It's hard enough to get a girl ride with you, and then have her put her on with a little skimpy little rear seat. She's really not going to come. Get this bike, she'll at least be comfortable. 6-speed transmission, super smooth. Haven't had any problems with the gearbox. The gearbox, each of the 6 gears are spaced well enough to keep that engine zipping. Clutch, it's got a little bit of resistance. You know, not enough to be like overpowering for someone that doesn't have a strong left wrist, but enough to know that you're on a real motorcycle. There's other motorcycles out there that have a lighter clutch pull, but they kind of feel toy-y, kind of gimmicky. Kind of like one of those bikes you'd see at Pep Boys. Not this thing. This thing's quality. Cable actuation instead of a hydraulic reservoir. Keeps the cost down, keeps the weight down. More simple. Works just fine. I'm 6 foot tall, and the riding positions, I think it's pretty good. You know, if I was a little bit taller, I think the seat might be a little bit short in terms of its pan depth from front to back. I think if you're a taller guy, you might think this bike's a little bit too small for you, but I think if you're 6 foot or below, it's gonna work pretty good for you. There we go. See a few wheelies. She likes to play. A little hairpin. Love that sound of the inline 4. Just there's something about inline 4s when you're on the gas. That whine they make is just, God, it sounds so awesome. Music to my ears. Always has been. We live in this world where our senses are slowly being dulled by iPhones and technology and stuff, but it's cool that you can still walk into a Honda motorcycle dealership, spend under $9,000 for a brand new bike that has inline 4 and experience that rush, that wail, that euphoric melody that only an inline 4 configuration can give. We're riding on Dunlop's Sport Max D222 tire. This is OE fitment on this bike. 120 70 17 front, 180 55 17 rear. And I like the tire sizing, and to be fair, these tires have worked real well on this ride, but I would probably spring for something a little bit more high performance. I really like what Dunlop's doing with the Sport Max Q3 and now Q3 Plus range. Those are fantastic tires at a very, very reasonable price. Heck, a lot of times they're on rebate. When they're on rebate, you can really save some cash with those tires, but I would definitely throw a set of those tires on once these OEM rubber wore out. This bike only comes with a 1-year warranty. It might be off-putting to some people, but you know, if you've been around motorcycles long enough, you'll know that Honda durability, even though these bikes are made in Thailand, Honda durability is at the top. The Tuning Fork brand certainly closed in on that terrain recently, but Honda's still right at the top. These are really nicely made bikes, very quality. And that's the Honda CBR650F. Make sure to read the article on ridersdomain.com/magazine. Gonna want to get some more insight on the motorcycle in that report. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're gonna be doing a lot more of these videos. see these kind of videos on Mondays, product spotlights on Tuesdays. If we can get enough of you guys watching, we'll probably be putting out some more videos on Wednesday, Thursdays, and maybe even Fridays. So tune in, drop us a note, let us know if we're sucking or if we're doing good, and we'll see you next time.